Okay, back again. So Krishnamurti told Bohm that the whole world would transform if only 10 people could listen to another person. In other words, had the ability to do that. And I thought what was interesting is that Krishnamurti didn't say he was one of the 10. He just said there weren't 10 people in the world that could do that. And I don't know how that happened, but it came through me, I think more internally than any reading. I started to realize what that was, which was because to really listen to another person, I could also see how that could really free the world, because like say in that community building, when that small group, and we had to go through a lot of war with 50 people to get to those phases so we could come together, and we came together. And the interesting thing about that thing is we came together, but still we then, not too long after that, got in cabs and got in the plane and went back home to our normal lives, and we were back in the world, and the world that we shared as one with all these other souls was dissipated. It dissipated, and I looked at that, and I knew it was going to dissipate. I knew it was going to dissipate, but I also knew what I experienced and saw what was capable of us as beings, and that, and the one thing I saw about that group too is there were 50 people from a very diverse way of life, and I don't think there were many souls that fall in that I don't even know if I was ready to do. I wasn't ready to do that either. To say, could you give up your life now? For instance, would you give up the life you had to stay with the life you have as one with your brothers and sisters? And is there another brother and sister who would join you with that? And there wasn't. There was nothing like that. So it went back. But I saw what happened and I felt what happened when you did hear someone and you did come together like that, all of us. And the possibility, the thing about listening is that, because I can really see this now. I hope some of you can see this out here. Every soul on this earth, I'm starting to see people, and it's like every soul on this earth, we're so sophisticated, we're so smart with what we're thinking, we're so wise with what we need for ourselves, setting our boundaries and all the things we have in this world. But you know what? I really think that whenever anyone's speaking, all they're really saying to another person is they're saying something like this. They're saying, are you someone who could hear me? I don't even know what's inside me. I just have stuff inside me, and so much, and every so often I see a little bit, but I'd like to talk about it. I'd like to get it out. I'd like to be heard. I think if I could be heard, I could let it out to be heard, and we could look at it together, and it would go away. It wouldn't be what I thought it would. I'd be free. So there's this wealth of us inside that we've stored about beliefs and thoughts and meaning, and all that stuff is in here. And it's like we're looking for someone, like a midwife, someone who could actually hear us. Now, to hear someone, this is the interesting thing, because to listen to someone like the way Krishnamurti was talking and the way I've experienced in that group leading to that, would be you'd have to be able to hear them with an incredibly clear, full intention that you were there to basically be a midwife for helping them get out what was in them, and you really wouldn't even care at all. I mean, not like care, it wouldn't matter what they were saying, other than the fact, the relative thing about the fact that they had meanings and judgments about it that was keeping it inside. And if you were one of these thinkers, listeners, you could be there to help them bring out all the stuff that's inside them, like a midwife would bring out a baby. Not judging the baby, not asking questions about the experience, not being triggered about what it's like. The material wouldn't trigger you. You would be just like, you would be sitting there and you'd be looking at everything, no matter how dark or anything it felt, or the judgment, or you'd be looking at it like, oh, this is the stuff of life. And you would be allowing and helping that soul to deliver it, to get it out, to go, thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you. To be with them. That would be listening. I have one thing I'm going to say about this too, because it's another story that I'm getting close to the end of my 6 minutes again, so I'm going to tell you another story that, because I had a friend, he passed on about 12 years ago, a really good friend, my friend Larry, and he was a great friend, and he was probably the best listener I've ever encountered. He would listen to everything I said, because he would hear things that I didn't want, really any focus on, that I was just kind of mumbling out of my mouth, and he would be the kind of friend that would say, "Oh, what you mean by that?" And I'd be going, "Oh God, I don't know if I wanted you to know that. I don't want to know that I want to talk about that." But he listened and he heard. Anyway, I'll tell you this story just a second after this one.